Hello, I trust this message finds you well. I wanted to get a quick video message out to everyone to give you some updates on some of the most recent events we've been having. We've had a lot go on over the last several months, including a fantastic national conference which was hosted right here in Indianapolis. I want to personally thank all the volunteers, all of our officers here in Indianapolis who made this a wonderful event for over 5,000 delegates from around the country who were here. To a person, what we heard was this was undoubtedly the best conference they had ever been to, and I just want to thank everyone for their support, encouragement, and their help to make all of that possible. Today, we were able to complete a press conference with the Indianapolis Mayor, as well as leadership from the Indianapolis City County Council and the IMPD. The press conference today was to announce the investment of over $9 million over the next 3 years in significant technology tools that we have been advocating for now since January of 2019. That includes a gunshot detection system to be piloted within the city, as well as 350 license plate readers and 350 public safety cameras. A good number of those cameras and LPRs should be utilized in the downtown economic corridor, and then the gunshot detection will have the capability of both mobile and static components that they'll test throughout the city to find its effectiveness. Also within this funding was part of a separate fiscal ordinance of nearly $154 million that also funds an additional 100 officers for the IMPD. That means our current staffing level that we're funded at is for 1,743 officers. This will move that number to 1,843 officers. Now, to keep it in context, we're currently 100 officers short. So right now we're funded for 1,743, but we're staffed at 1,640. And at the beginning of the year, we'll artificially create nearly a 200 officer shortage. With that being said, we've got a robust recruitment program that's in place and moving right along. I strongly encourage you to take a look at the incentives that are tied to that for helping to bring new officers here. And also the funding is there, which means that if additional overtime is needed, it exists and should not be an issue. So that's a huge step forward, and we're grateful to everybody for pulling in the same direction on that. With that being said, going into 2022, you're going to be receiving announcements through Indianapolis for those officers who are part of IMPD. It's going to be related to the open enrollment health insurance for the next year. As we have shared in a previous video, we are anticipating premium increases ranging on average between 3 to 10%, depending on which plan you were in. With that, I do have good news related to the open enrollment process. You'll be receiving communications from the City of Indianapolis HR that will be sharing with you that this year it will be a passive enrollment, which means that unlike last year, which was everybody had to re-enroll regardless of your status or changes or no changes, this year will be a passive enrollment to where you only need to re-enroll if you have changes or you're changing plans. So please monitor that information that comes from the city, and this is what I want to stress. Regardless, make sure you act in a timely manner so that people do not miss the deadlines for open enrollment. We had that unfortunately somewhat last year. We're hoping to avoid that issue, and again, I encourage you to any means necessary, do not miss that deadline. Additionally, for those passive enrollment will not only apply to active officers but to retired officers, and then for those officers who are retired and participating in Medicare plans, I strongly encourage you to still link up individually with Ms. Rhiannon Fox, who can determine your best plan that fits you the best on an individual customized level. You may find that you don't necessarily see an increase and it would still be passive, but she may be able to find you a plan that benefits you even better. So take full advantage of that and reach out to her. Next, I want to talk about the rapid increase in assaults on officers nationwide. Throughout the United States, as of the end of September, the latest statistics through our national FOP shows that we have had this year 241 officers shot in the line of duty, 44 which have been killed by gunfire. We have also had 93 officers shot in 75 separate ambush assaults. The analysis also shows that we've had a 103% increase in ambush attacks on law enforcement nationwide. While these are some stunning statistics, it also supports what we are seeing here locally within the Indianapolis community countywide, which is a significant surge and increase in attacks on officers, which have demonstrated themselves quite high quantity of those in just the last 3 months alone. With that, that also matches with the overall violence index within the city of Indianapolis. As of the recording of this message, our city has had at least 903 people shot, 196 people stabbed, with 208 killed. That's 1,108 people shot or stabbed, with 208 killed in just 280 days. That means that we're currently on a pace in this city to reach anywhere from 270 to 300 people killed in homicides by the end of this year. What's all this mean? It means that violence continues to surge, just as we have predicted based on the analysis and the ongoing monitoring that we're doing. And it's coming from you, the officers on the front lines, who are stuck in the middle of this alongside the residents in our community. So I want to encourage you to stand strong, stand in the middle of the truth, keep standing the line, but also stay safe and ensure that you're following all of our best practices, safety protocols, and relying upon your training. We know all too well the tragic outcomes that can occur from violence directed at our officers. As such, going into this next week in October, we will be having the postponed National Police Memorial Week in Washington, D.C. So this next week in our nation's capital, we will be recognizing the fallen officers, not just of last year, but the year prior to that, because those ceremonies have had to been postponed due to the national pandemic. As a result, this next week, our very own Officer Breanne Leith will be recognized and honored in Washington, D.C. Her name will be placed onto the wall, and we have ensured that her family has everything that they need, providing for their transportation and their support while they're in Washington, D.C. and upon their return. Due to the ongoing challenges that we're facing, we are expecting that we will have twice as many names and half the support personnel in Washington, D.C. But rest assured, we have made sure that the Leith family and our other survivors have dedicated support from our Indianapolis policing family, and we will make sure that this is done correctly as we have every step of the way through. We do anticipate that over 491 names will be recognized in the Capitol ceremony, and we'll have close to over 700 names read at the candlelight ceremony on the Mall due to legacy historical line of duty deaths that have been identified. It means that each ceremony will be significantly long, however, honors that are significantly overdue. So we're going to make sure that it happens. We're going to make sure that Bree is represented appropriately and honored appropriately, and we're going to make sure that her family knows that our Thin Blue Line family back here in Indianapolis is standing with them and walking alongside them every step of the way. So please, if you're not able to be there in person, please watch those ceremonies via the live links. We'll make sure that those are pushed out throughout the week. I also encourage you, if you get the chance, watch our memorial remarks honoring Breanne Leith and her family at this past year's local memorial. We'll have a link for that down below this message. And as always, keep them in your prayers throughout this upcoming Memorial Week. As always, I hope to see you at a roll call soon. Stay safe and keep looking up.